Hello, so in this video we're going to talk about the sociological imagination. This is the foundational reason that this class is on your degree plan. So many of you have degrees outside of general education. That is, a general education degree prepares you to transfer to a university and get a 4-year bachelor's degree someplace else. Certainly, sociology is one of the recommended options for you to choose in your social science selection. However, this class is also on some technical degrees like the culinary school or allied health like nursing or respiratory therapy. It's even on some of the technical classes like HVAC and welding can take this as an option. And it's because when you develop your sociological imagination, you are a better thinker. You can stand on your own 2 feet firmly with your head held high and make better decisions about life because you are more informed. And so this is the foundational concept that our course learning outcome number 1 is all about. It is the sociological imagination. So we are on day 1, week 1 of our class together, and we are talking about this concept. And everything that we do between now and the end of the semester is going to give you information so that you can be informed and you can make the connection that we're about to talk about. Okay. So, the sociological imagination, this is course learning outcome number 1. It is not about make-believe. I want to start off by saying that because so many people who don't take notes properly, when I ask people who don't take notes properly to write me a definition of the sociological imagination, I get something like, it's the ability to see yourself in somebody else's shoes or to imagine that you're in somebody else's shoes from somebody else's point of view. Nope. Wrong. It is not about make-believe or literally an imagination like kindergarten kids right now are learning about. Imagine that we are penguins on Antarctica or something. What would it be like? Oh, it would be cold. Okay, that's what a kindergarten kid is doing right now. That's what typically we say in everyday speech when we talk about an imagination. We're talking about that. But in sociology class, we are learning new definitions for common words, especially when it's a compound word like sociological imagination. This should be a great big hint because sociology has a macro side and a micro side. It's a systematic study of those things. And so we have to take sociology into our minds and use it to draw conclusions and make connections and make decisions. And so it is not about make-believe. That is the first thing you need to know. It has nothing to do with imagining what life would be like on Mars. That takes make-believe. What we want to do with the sociological imagination is we want to develop an educated, a trained, a skilled point of view. It is an ability. It is a practiced ability. You have to practice doing this. You have to get an educated, trained ability to make informed connections. Remember, sociology is about the scientific method, gathering information, reliable data, information that you can trust. You have to get trustworthy information, and you have to develop your ability through practice. If you play the guitar, the piano, the whatever, you can't just be good at it right off the bat. You have to practice, practice, practice. Speaking of bat, do you play baseball? You can't get better at your batting average unless you practice, practice, practice. And so that's what we're going to do together this semester is practice developing our sociological imagination in the way that the word is intended. It has nothing to do with make-believe. It's about ability, educated, trained, systematic ability to use valid, reliable information that we have to make connections between that macro scale stuff and micro scale stuff that you were introduced to in a previous video. So, society has a macro scale side and society has a micro scale side. So for instance, you on the micro scale have the life experience of going to college. But did you really get to make that decision all by yourself? Did you come up with the idea to go to college all by yourself, or did society on the macro scale kind of push you toward it? Or if your mom and dad said you will go to college if you're still going to live in this house rent free. I've got students who tell me that, yeah, mom and dad made me go here, just so that I don't have to pay rent on the room that I'm living in the house. Is it because your parents are really mean that they chose college as something that they want you to do in order to stay in the house? Or are they responding to macro level stuff that we kind of know because we were born here and we grew up here and it's in the back of our mind? But on the micro scale, did we really make the independent decision to come to college? Some people tell me, oh, sure, I would, I'm here because it's fun. I'm here to learn. I'm here, because I want to be. I had a student just the other day tell me she was here. She has suffered some medical problems, and it really puts a roadblock in front of her to be able to do something successfully, but she really wants to stick to college, and it just means something to her. She wants to have that diploma on the wall, and she's not here for a better job. But aren't you here for a better job? Isn't that the macro push that has put you here for a better job? You're here listening to me, taking notes, going to classes, completing the work, the hassle of all that with a purpose, right? Because society says, on the macro scale, society requires that if you're going to hold the job that you're interested in holding, that has promotion potential, that has knowledge and skill associated with being able to complete it successfully. Society says, if you're going to be able to hold that job, if you're going to be qualified and be interviewed for it to begin with, you better have some knowledge and a background. You better have a diploma to hang on the wall to qualify you for this position. Let's face it, a lot of us would skip all this if we could go straight into the job that we want, for a salary that is desirable, promotion potential that is interesting, salary increases incrementally over time that we expect as we get older. If you and I could go straight out of high school into a job like that, would you skip all this? A lot of us are paying out of pocket, or you'll pay out of pocket eventually with your financial aid, or the scholarship that you have requires a certain grade average over time, or you lose it. All of these kinds of things are designed to encourage you to go to college, but it also gives you debt. It gives you stress. It gives you time out of that workforce. It really creates a situation in which you are occupied with a significant part of your life in the education system, and you're required to do that, or you can't get the job that you want. My mother was a nurse. She got her 6-week certificate. It was called an RN at the time. I'm sorry, I said 6 weeks, 6 months. She went to class for 6 months and she got her RN. Can you do that anymore? No. But this was a long time ago, middle of the last century. She went and got her RN after a 6-month program, and then the rest of the time before she actually got her full diploma, she worked alongside professionals in the field and learned everything else from being in the workforce with them. And then she got her full-fledged diploma and could work by herself. Society isn't set up like that anymore. If you want an RN, you have to go through much more than 6 months worth of classes, and you can't just go and knock on the door to a hospital and say, hey, will you hire me and I'll just be this nurse's sidekick and I'll learn everything that she teaches me and I'll do it better than she, and then you can give me the job as nurse. No, society's not organized like that. Society on the macro scale says you must have this degree in order to do that particular job. And therefore, did you really make the decision to come to college all by yourself? Did your parents really push you into going to college all by yourself? Why is it that it's a goal in your mind to do this as an example for your children so they'll make a better life for themselves, like it's taken you just a little while longer than you're supposed to in order to be a success in life? Do we have a bias sort of on the society level that if all you got was a high school diploma, or maybe you dropped out and didn't have a GED or anything at all? Is there a little bit of a bias where individually on a personal scale, we're a little embarrassed to say that? Are we maybe proud? I'm in college now and you have like pride in that. Where does that feeling come from? Is it entirely within us, or are you responding to the macro scale patterns that exist in society, whether those are economic patterns like the job that you want, or a personal feeling like pride in yourself and a good example for the future, who's growing up in your household right now? How much of a personal decision did you really make all on your own to go to college? Or did society on the macro scale kind of push you into it? This is an educated, trained ability when you look at the components of society like the economy, like the workforce, like social prestige, social position, hierarchy of wealth, middle class, poverty, symbolism about college degree compared to high school dropout. These kinds of things are measurable in society through gathering data using the scientific method. We can inform ourselves about the data when it is collected. We can look at it and we can educatedly make connections between patterns that exist on the macro scale and our micro scale, our own micro scale social life experiences. And that's what the sociological imagination is all about. And that's what we're working on this semester. So that's why we're here together. That's why it's on so many degree plans, whether you're on a university transfer trajectory or whether you're going to be a diesel mechanic. That's why we've met each other and why you're taking this class with me today. The ability to think, the ability to make connections yourself, your own mind. Take good notes on this video and all the others, because that's where your education comes from. That's how you're going to practice training yourself to have the ability to make these informed connections between macro and micro. I'm here to give you the puzzle pieces to put them together so that beautiful brain of yours can grow and get better and you'll be a virtuoso. Okay, so this is just the first part of what we need to do and what we need to achieve together. And so stick with me, and it's going to be a fun ride. See you next time.